Welcome everyone to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter and I'm joined by Tara, and we are going to discuss Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 1. It's called Kobayashi Maru. I am being distracted because my cat Firefly is trying to sabotage the whole production here. So yes, full spoilers for the episode as always, and you know what? Sometimes like the passage of time feels just like the what you call it, like the markers, right? The markers in time, the landmarks, if you will. Seasons of TV and being like, wait, we're on season 4. It felt like it just started yesterday. Where did 4 years ago? What happened? But yes, we're here for season 4. It is a very up and down journey, has Discovery. Tara is filling in as co-host. I was going to fly solo, but Tara, being a big Trek fan, insisted that this not be a solo discussion.
I know. Couldn't let that happen.
So
it's too risky.
Too risky? What, you're worried that I'm going to be too negative?
Yes.
I'm going to be too harsh?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
someone should be here who loves the show.
Look, it's not my fault the season 3 finale like squandered the best concept the show ever had and shat it down the toilet for a episode where the hero could punch a villain in the face. Okay? My fault.
I am kind of neutral on season 3. I actually don't really like season 2 very much. There's a lot in each episode that I love because I'm a Trekkie. But overall, like I think those 2 seasons had some disappointing moments for me. I still think season 1 is the best, and it's really good.
No comment. So we'll talk about season 4, episode 1. So new premiere. We get the Federation's rebuilding. Starfleet's even launching again. Starfleet Academy specifically. I mean, in this episode, Michael gives a speech to the first class of cadets who are going to be training. Who all look suspiciously far older than Wesley Crusher ever did when he was in Starfleet Academy. I just want to point that out. They only take.
Well, he was a Wonderkin.
Okay. I got the impression that Starfleet Academy took like early teens in the old shows, whereas now it feels like they're only taking like 25-year-olds.
I think Crusher was like that kid in college where you're like, wait, aren't you still in like middle school? What are you doing here?
I see. Well. That's all going. We got a new president of the Federation, and so we don't have a bad Admiral this episode. We have a bad residential person. No?
It doesn't work when you use that. It's a different meaning. You just say residential.
But we have a Presabad? I don't know what the pun could be for a bad president, but
I'm not convinced she's bad.
Well, okay, but I don't really necessarily mean bad anyway. What I really mean is she's there kind of to challenge Michael and like get in the way a little bit, even if she has a good point and like a solid statement she's trying to make and like a teaching moment. She still kind of fulfills that Admiral role of like being there and throwing a wrench in the works and the chain of command and all that stuff. So that's there. So this episode sets up the plot of this season. It's fairly... Yeah, because season 3 started with, we had that big season 2 ending where they're shot into the future, so there was so much like finding their footing at the start of season 3, where it's like, okay, where are they? When are certain characters going to show up? Whereas this season, it's it's a lot more kind of easygoing to start with, because it's just like, okay, they're going around giving dilithium to various planets.
They're trying to reestablish Starfleet as like something that people can trust.
Yeah, and it's not going super well. The fairy dudes at the start are very aggressive with them.
Yes. Well, also, I think people have been all these planets have been isolated for like 100 years or so, right? Because the burn happened in I think it was like 100 years in the past. So I mean, they've probably like distrust everything outside of their own world.
Yeah, honestly, my only real thoughts on this opening segment, other than just establishing that they're doing this, is 2 things. One, everyone was far too happy, so I'm like, okay, so the threat has to like be big, because everyone's far too chuffed with themselves. Michael's saying let's fly. They've got even new uniforms because too many people complained about the new uniforms at the end of the finale.
I like the grey ones.
I thought they were fine too, but they've got like more.
I thought they were sleek looking.
Yeah, they're more. It's like they've swapped it. They've just got, it's more color now with a little bit of grey as opposed to a lot of grey and just like a little slither of color. So now they've swapped it.
Whatever. I mean, I'm sure we'll get new ones next season.
But yeah, it was just really, I felt, and this is not the first time this show's had this by any means, right? The influence of this has been all over all of these new shows. But this opening scene felt like the opening of one of the Abrams movies to me. Like,
it felt, probably, is it Beyond? Or...
Yeah. No, maybe it's like Darkest. Is it you thinking the one where they're like running through the forest and they sort of jump out of the ship and...
With all the red trees around? Red plants.
That may be, honestly, maybe either. They both kind of start with like they're on a mission and we're seeing the end of it, and shit, we're in trouble. They're shooting at us. Run.
Yeah.
Cut back to the ship where they're all making quips and like.
Well, this show has been from the beginning very post those Abrams films, and the influence of it is not lost on anybody watching it.
Yeah, like I say, it's been in parts the whole time. I just, something about this opening scene, maybe it's because we've not had the show in like a year, maybe it's because whatever, but maybe it's because it's such a condensed like thing, but it really felt like just the opening of one of those movies to me.
I did like the look of the butterfly people. I thought they were kind of neat looking, and just new, like it's a new alien species I've never seen before, and we have the technology to make it look kind of cool now. And I like the banter between Book and Burnham. Like they have good chemistry. They have a good relationship. I thought it was odd that it was just them on the planet to like have this like ambassador role. Like maybe they should have somebody who's a bit more adept at like being in that playing that ambassador role. Especially since they seem to be not great at it. Yeah,
I don't even know who on the ship you would say is the most suited for that job. I mean, Saru maybe would have been, but he's not there right now, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. It does kind of go back to that. I suppose when you look at the old Trek shows, the captain tended to be more of the ambassador, but he'd never go down... Well, Kirk would, but I'm thinking next gen. The logic, the more logical approach is that no, the captain, in case something goes wrong, stays on the ship, and Riker and an away team will go down and make first contact with whoever. But yeah, like, but when it came to like proper ambassador things, where someone had to really negotiate with the leader, it would be Picard. Picard would go down and like discuss and try to have an open conversation with them.
And Kirk would do it as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but Kirk would jump down there first as well. He would just jump
Lead
in.
me to your women.
Yeah. If this was Kirk would be like, yes, we'll give you dilithium in exchange for women.
The one constant throughout the universe. Your women.
But I feel like you're doing like a weird alien voice and not Kirk's voice.
Actually, I'm doing like I think was it Jake Blues from the Blues Brothers movie. Your women, we want to buy your women.
I was almost getting like Ferengi almost the way you were saying it.
Well, they definitely would want to buy their women, yes.
Yeah. So it's this action scene. They come back. Michael makes a speech. Starfleet Academy's opening up. Oded Fair, our admiral, he's got his family back, so he's all chuffed and happy. They are using...
He's a good character. I think he's really comforting to watch. I don't know if it's his voice or his like demeanor or something, but there's something very Starfleet about him that I really like. And he's been a really great addition to the show.
Well, he was in the Desert Starfleet in The Mummy, so he's transitioned naturally.
Mm.
He was part of the Secret Order to like stop anyone from unleashing the curse.
It's been so long since I've seen those films, and I'm sure he was a much younger man, so I'm trying to picture who he was.
I mean, honestly, just imagine him with longer hair, and he's kind of this. I mean, it's a bit more grey now. But...
okay. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's aged fairly well. He doesn't look like he's completely changed or anything. He's cut his hair; it's a bit grayer, but that's about it. Like he's
quite handsome, I think.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
I'm probably younger than he was in The Mummy, and I've already got grey in my beard, so, you know, some of us age quicker than others, apparently.
Yeah. I've got grey in like the center. That's why I always have a side part to cover it up.
So he's in a better place. They mention that they are they're using, obviously some of the ships are getting their warp drives back, but they are trying to develop new technology so they don't have to be so dependent on the one resource, which is smart. And they're trying.
Sounds like they're trying to make a new spore drive.
Yeah, it said Spore Drive 2.0, and the way the president talked about it sounded like, oh, but they had that much luck with it yet. There's other technologies that are getting, they're quicker, but they're working on it. So maybe this will be something.
They know it works at least once, so yeah.
Yeah, so, but of course the Discovery can still jump around. So when they get this big distress call where something's wrong with a space station and the crew's in trouble, this Discovery that's been sent out, and the president insists on coming with them. And that's like that's probably the biggest thing of the episode, really, is kind of the clashing between Michael and the president while she's there, sort of second guessing a lot of Michael's decisions. And the reason why it's called Kobayashi Maru, it does come up, of course, eventually in the episode, but ultimately it's more about the fact that they're in a no-win scenario where Michael's determined to save every single life, and the president's kind of like, well, you can't. Like, this is a situation where you shouldn't risk everyone. It was kind of funny because when they get to the end of it, and because there's a lot of action of like trying to save the people, and Tilly and Adira go over and try to fix things and help with the escape pod, but there's too much debris, so Michael ends up going out in a little pod, and eventually a spacesuit, like Iron Man style, taking debris out and stuff. So a bit over the top in the action scale, but at the end of the episode, it's like, I almost felt like when the captain of this space station, who was getting like, actually, at one point he pulled a phaser on Tilly because he was mad that of what their course of action was. He was getting kind of desperate, even though he had no other better options. But he still,
well, he had a option that would require a death.
Yes, and I suppose the dark irony is that he actually dies. Whilst most, not all, but most other people live, because they mentioned there's like 3 deaths, I think, at the end of the episode, all in. But I think what was weird though is, like, obviously when they find his body, it almost kind of felt like it was supposed to be to see Michael made the wrong choice because someone died. I'm like, but I was like, she saved most of them, and I'm glad the president said that, because I'm like, she still probably got this is probably the best outcome that was possible. Like,
well, I think that this outcome, or this plan, I think really the only difference is that the captain of the station just wanted to go sacrifice himself to like unlatch the escape pod or something from an area that didn't have life support. So he would have died, but everyone else would have lived, or at least would have been able to take the shuttle twice. Although I think you could have fit 3 more people in that shuttle pod, but whatever. They said it was full.
Yeah, I would crack a joke about a weight limit, but it's space, so I mean,
yeah. So I think, yeah, just like hold a couple of them, it'll be fine. So I think that would have guaranteed 1 death, but everybody would have survived still, and they would have maybe gotten there sooner because they kept delaying him. But with Michael's plan, puts more people at risk of dying, but there's a chance that everyone will survive.
Yeah,
but unfortunately not everyone did. So there were some lives lost because they went with Michael's plan.
And to hammer home the point, she put the needs of the few out, above the needs of the many. That line was used to kind of hit it home in Star Trek speak, which is fine. It's, I think the Kobayashi Maru, I like that it's called that, and I like that I almost wish they didn't actually bring it up though and name it. Like, I think it would have been a nicer title if it was just, no, she's in a no-win scenario and that's the theme and the point of the episode, but they never actually, oh, by the way, there was this test called the Kobayashi Maru, and oh, it's rigged, like, they kind of like explain it again.
Well, it could be for new Star Trek fans also. I know. Blasphemy. Edit that out, okay.
I mean, no,
it could be for new fans. Like, people are new, like, there's younger fans watching the show.
Does it matter if they understand the title? I mean, most people don't even notice the titles of the episodes. They just watch and don't think about it.
Oh, so are you upset that it's called that? I thought you were okay that it was called that.
No, I am. But I'm saying it's okay that if some new fans don't get the title, like, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe they see the title and go, "What's that?" and they Google it and they go, "Oh, it's a thing from Star Trek too. I'll go back and watch some Star Trek."
Okay. Well, I thought maybe you were just upset that they brought it up and then explained it. But the explanation is for people who maybe don't even really know the movies but know the show.
Yeah, maybe. It almost felt like it's one of those things where it's pointing out its reference too much. Like sometimes there's more power in like having it spiritually be about that, and the title can indicate that, but the characters don't necessarily have to point it out.
There were some pretty stellar references in this episode though that I was very excited about. And actually, it was in a scene that we kind of glossed over, which was the scene with the Academy opening up.
Oh, was this the mention of the word Voyager?
Actually, that one, yes. It's the Voyager J, which is cool because, it's been 1,000 years. There's been a lot of Voyagers, but also J for Janeway. Kind of nice. And then also the space station, or they're building it, or the space dock, is called the Archer Station, which is the captain from Enterprise. And you can hear the theme playing when they mention it, which was very nice as a fan.
I don't watch the Enterprise yet, so I didn't recognize it. So
I'm actually rewatching it right now. I'm deep into season 3, but I've watched it like 100 times. I really like Enterprise. I mean, obviously there's some confusing decisions in that show and frustrating ones, much like in Discovery sometimes, but I'm a fan and I love it. And when you love something, you love it through its highs and lows.
It's been a long road that you've taken many times.
That's right. I never skip the intro. Even that tambourine season. I mean, you don't know what I mean, but the people know. I can't wait for this tambourine season now. You've teased it. So no, but to get to the core point of this though, as much as I'm nitpicking a little bit of the over wink this mention it 5 times, is I'm not against the point of this, which is it's exploring the idea of, because Michael's character from the very start of the show, like her flaw, she's a hothead.
She's a hothead who jumps in and questions authority and gets mad because she thinks she can do the right thing but doesn't actually think it through, and that leads to mistakes. It leads to and often she is right about certain things, but the president points out that you kind of walk a fine line, but you can also be a wrecking ball, and things are you pulled off all these big moves because there was this apocalyptic plot happening. It was kind of a last-ditch effort, and that's why it was maybe the right time for such a ballsy idea. But now we're rebuilding. Now we're trying to build relationships with people. This is not the time for theatrics in this way. Now's the time to build confidence with little steps.
Yeah, and I think the opening scene kind of reflects maybe why she's not the best person for this.
So as far as character growth goes, I think there's potential in what it's trying to do here. I'm not getting my hopes up though. Every season of Discovery has let me down. Right? I went into season 3 really optimistic, thinking it's a fresh start, but even the ending of season 3 might have been the most crushingly disappointing one, because I thought what it set up in episode, whatever the second last, I don't remember how many episodes it was, but the second last episode had such a cool idea that it felt so Star Trek, felt the most Star Trek they could ever do, and it pissed it all the way in the finale. So I am coming to this season more skeptical than I have ever been, and once again it set up a mystery. There's this gravitational anomaly that happens, and obviously we see it at the station, and that's kind of a small scale because it's just a little space station, and they spend all the episode trying to save people, and it's a lot of action.
It was cool seeing the space station just spinning through space like that though. That was a good rush. It was a lot of action, and that's what the show that's what we expect from this show now, so yeah, just deal with it. But it was a lot of action, but it was a really cool set piece. But
it's once again we have this season long plot where there's a mystery of what this thing is. Last season it was the burn. Season before that it was, what is the angel of death? Season 1 was maybe a little different, but it feels like there's a bit of a pattern to how this show formats its story each season. So I kind of felt that a little bit, but obviously we see the bigger scale of this thing, which is a far darker implication. And you know what, I knew something bad was going to happen, because so Booker goes to his home planet, right, like Poochie, but back to his home planet. And He's there. Well, his nephews. It's like their version of a bat mitzvah or something, right? Where the kids like going through this rite of passage ceremony where he like cuts a bit of a tree and it's like, you're a man now, even though you're like 9. But there's a moment after this where he's running like in the forest and like Booker's looking at him all happy and proud as an uncle, and the kid's like running in slow motion as he looks back and smiles, and I went, this is far too happy. Something very bad is about to happen to these people. Like that is what that scene told me. Is it so? I didn't expect it to be the entire planet's about to die.
Yeah, that was a shocker actually. Yeah, I mean, we saw that the moon gets destroyed, and like all the debris is going towards the planet. So, I mean, it would have been devastating either way. But I did not expect the whole planet to just be not just gone, but like not in the right part of the solar system.
Oh, it's
anymore.
moved, yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like obviously all the debris from the moon would cause a lot of damage, but I don't think that's the main culprit here. I think it's almost like the gravitational anomaly hit the moon first, and then it's hit the planet, and so the planet's just it's breaking apart. It got kryptoned basically.
Yeah.
So now Booker's like last of his kind.
Yeah. And I thought that was an emotional performance also from him at the end. I mean, it was very quick, but it was just like, ooh, like that got real dark and real upsetting. I mean, obviously, yeah, the setup in the middle of the episode where like he's with his family and everybody's happy, like that's just the way TV works.
Yeah, everyone's too happy, something bad's about to happen. That's just the rules.
Yeah. And it's a bar mitzvah when it's a boy, it's a bat mitzvah when it's a girl. Just FYI.
I'll be honest, I did not realize there was 2 different words.
Well, you didn't grow up in California like I did.
I don't think I've ever met a Jewish person like in person, so yeah, do you know what I think it is? I think I've heard both words through movies and TV, and I just don't remember which one's right. I just thought one was wrong.
Yeah.
So I guess apologies to the Jewish people watching.
Well, I mean, it was just because both would work for your analogy. It's just that it was a nephew.
Actually, now I'm thinking, I didn't even realize girls had a thing. I just thought it was a boy thing. I didn't realize girls had their own version of a bat mitzvah.
Yeah, it's just a party. They get a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
I got real drunk at one. I was older though.
I was going to say, isn't that a 13-year-old thing?
I was much older. I was like 21. I think I was 21, yeah. I got real drunk and danced with my mom. Ugh. Not a thing that's ever going to happen again.
Sounds like a rocking time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, big ending. It sets the stakes pretty high. And it's almost like a little frustrating that it feels the need to have this big plot. And I'm sure it'll probably be exciting in places. And the fact that it's done something this dark with it at the end of the episode is the most interesting part about it. But part of me, again, kind of almost felt like I almost just wanted a quiet season of them like having to build the Federation. Like I was more interested in the minutia.
But that's not what this show is.
I know.
I mean, Strange New Worlds is supposedly going to be more anthology-like, more like structured, very much like classic Star Trek. I mean, it makes sense because they're channeling classic Star Trek. It is based off those characters.
I mean, it's the Enterprise. It's it's just those colors. It's all those things. Yeah,
and it's what a lot of people have been asking for. So they're like, okay, well, here's this. Now for Discovery, we can just keep doing what we've been doing. We'll do the season-long arcs with the big baddie or whatever it is this time, big mystery. Plus a lot of action episodes in the middle. I'm sure they'll have some episodes where things will be calmer and there's going to be more diplomatic stuff going on in between to kind of break it up.
Yeah. I only heard half of that, admittedly, because I was at the cat out, but I got the gist.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's a weird thing. We're not finished yet. There's a couple of other things to talk about in this episode, but Discovery is in a really weird place where there's certain things that make Trek special, I think, like, in general, right? And almost all of it, you're talking about original series, you're talking about a lot of next gen, and I haven't had the pleasure of Deep Space Nine yet, but I hear very good things. and that show like has this habit of dangling things that feel Star Trek, and then going, but no, we're not interested in doing that. We're interested in doing shooty shooty bang bang instead, and that's a little frustrating. But
it sure looks good for shooty shooty bang bang stuff though. Like,
I mean,
it's a good looking show. Like, you can see the budget in it.
For TV stuff, I did think because normally the effects in this are great, and most of the effects in this episode are great. The one time I felt kind of the green screen quality a little bit was actually when Michael was making the speech. There was something about that like observation deck they were standing on that just felt a bit fake. But I mean, it may just be a simple case of like, they were going for the super reflective surface, so it just kind of looked a little bit, lamer than normal. But
yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to this this big mystery of the anomaly. It does actually remind me, since Enterprise was brought up in the show already, like all of season 3 is about going through a part of space that's just got these strange anomalies. Like, they're just bubbles in space that affect the physics of anything that's close to it. And so it really does remind me of that. And maybe that's why they brought up Enterprise in this episode too, was to try to like make fans remember that season.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is good. Like, I don't know, it's exciting.
So it's funny, I remember last season there'd been a constant worry that it would turn out somehow that Michael or just the Discovery in general caused the burn, because the previous season 2 was like, everyone was like, Michael's going to be the angel, and it ended up in her mum, which wasn't exactly, but it was almost just as bad. Like, it was like,
well, it was her mum and it was her. It
was connected to her, right? I don't think it'll turn out to be her, but the joke version of that this season, I think, is that like Michael's going to ascend to celestial form in the future, and this is just her like farting or something. Michael's farts destroy the planet.
Somehow it all comes back to Michael again. Well, it seems to be this show or this season is setting up like, well, we hear you fans that are like, but like Michael is doing a lot of like crazy impulsive decisions, and shouldn't somebody be like questioning that and stopping her? And now they have a character that's there to do that.
Oh, sure. I wasn't. My comment there had nothing to do with critiquing the character of Michael. My comment there was critiquing the hammy writing of having to connect the mystery to the main character.
Sure.
That's a very, very different complaint.
Sure, I understand. I do really like this actress though, who's playing the president. Like, I think she's also just like this unique voice in the show that's that conveys authority, and she's kind of scary. Oh, sure. And she's definitely like 1/16th Kardashian something else, because she's got like the spoon head thing, but she looks mostly human otherwise. And actually, when I was looking at the cadets also, it seems like because it's been 1,000 years that there's a lot of hybrid aliens. Like, they look kind of like the aliens I know from Trek, but also that they're mixed with humans or something else, which is kind of neat also. It's just, it's been 1,000 years, and there's been a lot of peace in that time, and relationships grew, and
I was going to critique it there and say that, but they've all been separated, but that's only the last 100 years. There was 900 years before that where they were all intermingling, so fair enough.
And the Federation was around the whole time, so the crew only got more diverse. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
The other thing that you talk about briefly is probably Saru. We see him on Kepler?
Kaminar,
there you go. He's Kelpian. I was mixing it up with the race. That's
I know. I was trying to think of what he was before. I'm like, is he Kaminite? I'm like, no, that's Twilight Zone.
So we see him on Kaminar. Kaminar, thank you. And he's with the Kelplar who caused the burn, and they addressed that some of them kind of look at him a bit funny, like, what if he does it again? Like, we're kind of worried that he might do something. But what was interesting about this though is we actually get to see kind of what this place looks like now, because the last time we saw it back before the time jump, it was it was a village who didn't believe in space travel, and now they've got a big like underwater
city thing.
Yeah, and it's like a base, and the room is like a it's like it's like in Babylon 5 you have like the hearing room. It's like that. It's like where they all go to like discuss and debate their things.
I know you hate this film, and most people do, but it looked like the Naboo like underwater cities in Star Wars.
Yes, specifically the Phantom Menace. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, there's the reason why most people hate it.
It's definitely my favorite of the prequels, but I don't really like the prequels that much.
I would agree it's the best of those three, but that is a very, 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 very low bar.
Yeah, we're a rare breed to say that though.
Well, Attack of the Clones is one of the most boring things I've ever seen in my life, and Revenge of the Sith is not good. I don't care what people say, it's shit.
It is so frustrating. Just because it answers or like tries to connect things doesn't mean those connections work. They don't work at all.
That's made them good.
It's so frustrating.
Oh, it's the same thing that we talk about, like just bringing up names and connecting things, and like that doesn't make something good. You actually have to have the story there as well that makes, that works and feels emotional and engages with you. And call me crazy, but the romance of Padme and Anakin did not wow me. She was all like you at this 13-year-old's bat mitzvah. She was like, "Hey, young Anakin, in a few years you'll be
Whoa.
I
this is for girls. I wasn't hitting on any little girls there. I don't know why they had an open bar for a bat mitzvah, but it was fun.
That's a weird choice. That's an odd choice, yes. I guess it's like, all the parents are all like just miserable. They need something to keep them happy. But no, like it's basically the scenes are essentially about Saru's. His heart's kind of like wanting to go back to Discovery, and he's been here. We get a confirmed time gap. It's been 6 months since he came here, so presumably that just means about 6 months since the end of season 3, and. Yeah, he wants to go back out. He's kind of like resisting it, and he feels like he belongs there, but
plus he wants to help out Sukal, the other Kelpian.
Yeah, but he says like, no, I'm fine. Like I've made new friends and family here. I feel comfortable. You should go. Like you belong out there doing stuff. Like you solved this and found me because of who you are, and because of your drive to go and be this explorer and understand and all these things. So go do that. That's where you're best.
I like that the Baul are there too. They're part of their council meetings and stuff. Like they're just peaceful with one another.
So I'm very curious as to like where he'll slot in when he does make his way back somehow to the ship. Like, he's not gonna be like, I'm captain again. Piss off, Michael. Like this doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So curious. Are we going to somehow flip it where he's the first officer again now and Michael's captain?
Well, is Tilly the first officer?
I think she is, yeah.
Because Reese was the one who was in charge on the bridge when she was on the planet.
That's true. So maybe it's Reese.
I don't know. Everyone got a promotion though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and there was a new guy who was filling in for the one dude, because there's a scene where he's like, "Oh, I'm filling in another ship for a few days, so you've been taking my station."
Yeah.
Which dude
I'm
is
working
that?
on it. I'm not reaching it.
Bryce.
That's
the one.
It.
So he's actually missing most of the episode. We only see him briefly at the Starfleet Academy thing when he mentions this, and there's a new dude who's filling in for him. So. I've nothing to say about it. I'm just noting that it happened.
Yeah. New member on the bridge. That's cool.
Yeah.
We're missing Testicle Head, though. I didn't see him.
What's funny, with Saru gone, and with no Giorgio, and like we lost so many characters between the time jumping in, like from last season to this season. And Saru will be back, don't get me wrong. But it did really stick out to me that, because so much of the bridge crew are definitely like a B tier of character on this show versus like classic Trek, that when Michael was on the planet doing stuff at the start of the episode, Tilly was the only one who felt like a main character who was on the ship that you could talk to. Everyone else was like, I like a lot of these faces and I'm used to seeing them, but like none of them are,
They're just that though, right? They're just faces.
Pretty much, yeah.
We could use a Lower Decks episode for the show.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they did give, like, a few of them did get a little bit of like growth last season. They got like little storylines here or there.
Yeah, Kayla got the whole like injury thing, and she was. Actually, I don't remember much about it. Ariam obviously had a big storyline.
Yeah, Joan had the. She had that whole thing where she was like stepping in and fighting, or I'm very vague on it, but she had a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely a character beat for her. So, you know, there's stuff.
Yeah, but they don't have any episodes.
No.
It's still about Michael and Saru and Tilly.
Yeah.
But now that Georgiou is gone, like she's not coming back.
No. Not in this show anyway.
Although I was like at any moment like expecting her to walk through the door and start like insulting everybody in her vaguely sexual way.
Yeah. But she's going to pop up in the spin-off though, in the section 31.
Yeah, I think that's still happening.
Yeah. It's still a ways off because that's coming after at least Picard season 2 and Strange New World season 1, so we're still a while away from that. But so much Trek, so much Trek coming.
Keep it coming.
Yes, you're so happy.
Straight to the veins.
So yeah. I think if you enjoy Star Trek Discovery, I think there was nothing you're going to feel too miffed at in this first episode. It felt like a Star Trek Discovery episode, for better and worse. You know, whatever things you liked or disliked before, but this show they're still just kind of there in place. So I don't think anything's going to completely swerve you one way or the other. So
no, I think it was a good start to the season.
So we'll be back next week. Let us know what you think of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fudge for channel updates. If you want to support the show, it's okay. I'll do it. I'll make you do it. This is like an extra guest thing for you. I'll take the burden. You can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/mailfuzztv. That is $1 per month to get some bonuses, help keep all the content coming. I know a lot of other podcasts and stuff say keep the lights on, but I'm refusing to do that because I don't want to just do the cliched thing. So I like to say
smash that like button.
Help keep my cats fed is what I like to say. People are more sympathetic about little cute cats than they are.
Well, your kitty was pretty cute at the start.
Yes, than they are lights. As far as they're concerned, I can sit in the dark. It's fine.
Yeah, you should start playing like Sarah McLachlan and just showing your cats and then doing the Patreon plug.
I will remember you. So there you go. That's Star Trek Discovery episode 1 of the season. We'll be back next week. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?